Early this year, the overlord of the Wala Traditional Council, Naaf Hussein Seidu Pilpu, announced that he will be taking drastic actions to stop the incidence of leaked sex tapes and same-sex relationships in his jurisdiction. A task force was then constituted to search and apprehend perpetrators within the Wala traditional area. Few months down the line, a sex tape involving two lovers yesterday went viral in what the Traditional Council says is a defiance to the authority of the overlord. The two lovers were tied and flogged in the full glare of the public and a police military detachment manning the palace.
2, 3, 4, 5.
It came into the notice of the police on the very day the incident happened. That was yesterday. I was here when I had a message to the effect that something was happening in the Wana Palace. And I asked the person send me a text message. I quickly called my in-charge operation, that's Superintendent Clement Ali, to move there with men immediately and get the people arrested. He moved there and called me on the phone to tell me that when he got there, everybody had run away, leaving an empty palace. He could not even contact a single human being to interview or to find out what really took place. However, as the news is spreading, we have been able to contact the Wana secretary. You know, speaking to the Wana, the overlord is difficult, if not impossible. And the secretary came out to tell us that he, together with the Wana, were not in the palace at the time of the incident. But they will meet this morning and then find out the few elders and the people present there who instructed or who gave the go-ahead for that barbaric act to take place in no other place than the chief palace. So this morning, I was there when the chief delegation came to tell us that, in fact, they are still doing underground work to find out those who committed that barbaric act, and that the chief was not there. He had consulted the elders, and the elders have assured him that by the close of today, they will bring the people forward. And that is the response or the report the delegation from the overlord came to tell me and my deputies here this morning. However, notwithstanding, we are doing our own investigation. And as talked to you, we have already made an arrest. In fact, the arrest is really the kingpin, the actual architect of the sin. We have arrested him. But I'm not going to give the name out now because it's under investigation and we don't want the public or this information to derail our investigation. So someone has already been picked. And that is all what I can tell you about this case.
The incident has received condemnation from some Ghanaians. However, spokesperson for the overlord of the Wala traditional area says, though the Traditional Council abhors the circulation of nude videos and same-sex relationship, the flogging of the two lovebirds happened on the blind side of the chief.
They were said to have had sexual intercourse with each other and decided to leak the content of the video in them, showing them in the act. And so the said group of people who brought them in, got them arrested, decided to bring them to the palace. And so when they got into the palace, they made them to go through that ordeal that we all found in social media circulating at the time. And I'm sure it still circulates. It's now become a viral matter. And the unfortunate aspect of the whole show is that when it took place, His Majesty the Overlord Wana was not around. As his personal secretary, I was also not around. And so, up till now, we are unable to still speak to what could have led to the decision to flog them as they did. I have just come in from school not long ago, and I would from now also be getting to the bottom of it to have an interface with some of the people who were around and could speak to it.
The circulation of nudity is criminal under the 1992 Constitution of Ghana.
Act 1038 is clear that anybody that publishes nude materials has committed a criminal offense. So in actual fact, the laws of our land are so clear. Act 29 itself makes it a criminal offense to publish nude materials of people without their consent. So it's a criminal offense, pure and simple. The best action anybody can take with respect to any offense is to take them to the police station or report the action to the police. That's the best thing anybody can do. Any other thing in an environment that cannot be controlled might have this consequence we are suffering from as at now. So the best thing is to report it to the police, for the police to take action on it. When I spoke to one of the sub-chiefs, and I asked under what authority were they doing what they did, he said they were acting on behalf of the Wana, and that it was their custom that the land has been desecrated and they had to cleanse it. And I intimated to them that customary practices that conflict with known laws or conflict with the Constitution are not to be enforced. And that if you have customary practices that are in conflict with the law, we have to be cautious about it. That's just the advice I gave them, and then left the scene. Yes, the people, the humiliation, the indignity they suffered, the exposure itself, I don't think that should be a way to go.
He, however, says stringent measures should be put in place to halt the circulation of nudity within the Wala traditional area.
Nobody is prepared now to talk about the offense, but that is where I have a difficulty. There is an offense that has been committed. It is important that we go into the offense and see what we can do to avert production and publication of nude material. You realize that for some time now, what seems to be turning into a porn hub, and that has incensed a lot of people genuinely, and I'm sure that is one of the reasons the mob resorted to. Mob action cannot be justified by anybody, not even me. I prosecute crimes and I fight people who, and those who have done the mob action, they themselves are now subject to police inquiry. My sources tell me that they have been picked, some of them have been picked up.
Some residents also spoke to Citi News.
Walibi yala na banle ora pampanana baba eraso imanye poka anyahe mga kada yahe mga ayelen mungondo ya manse e bommalele oyina yala kadune de me anyar dune kania janyera mayang imara dala bang bana bana ba e ba yala ja ko nanda era nga wo be chenji
ka yala bewala salamem ga karebla basun ka dawnam poka nan bana gondo yala la abasun ke ya yala ka gbangbala kania ja na anyira so yala bewala pa tabaso aka belala e badam fio ban ma wala commander landan fio ban parabla
tabama yal ko kuba yan chaka biye ja la ibla kama ma safia biyen ebla banya ko ta fiabo ko nan wa fiabo ba fiabo na ga no doctor la tetebo champo peleyan ka biyen ba sa bungira wayen chaka abu mon ba soma ba fiabo akuti ba venyan kaduna nan miya ha tin ira nan bo gal sa kula ban wa bomi yalla malabla.
Following the flogging of two youngsters at the palace of the overlord of the Wala traditional area over a sex tape here in Wa, the Upper West Regional Police Command has said that 3 persons have been arrested, while they are on a manhunt for some others that are connected to the crime. Some residents here in the region have expressed mixed reactions over the issue. Reporting for Citi News, Latif Mahama, Wa.
2, 3, 4, 5.